Welcome back to this Let's Play of the original official campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2. Last time we dealt with the Circle of the Mare, and, well, it didn't end well, but could have ended worse, I guess. We have a couple more leads to follow up on. We could follow up on the Wendersnaven at the Strange Clearing, or we can try dealing with the Lizardmen in Highcliff. We'll go to Highcliff first. This should be easy, right? I mean, just a bunch of Lizardmen. We've certainly killed enough of them over the course of the game. On our way in, though, we have to save Zakan, the Forever Man, and Gira again. This is what, the, third time we've had to deal with this family? Now, you notice that Jero is actually quite effective against these guys. Eldritch Chain is very good at killing spam, and it doesn't quote-unquote cost you anything. You can use it infinite times per day, but he doesn't have any ability to deal with harder enemies, and that's primarily what makes him marginally useful at best. Anyway, these people will give you some money if you press them for it, but I really don't care about the money at this point in time at the game, and so we can tell them we will help out Highcliff and blah blah blah. There's some random crap that dropped, but the most important thing to grab here is this ore, which you can't get back to, because this is sort of like a random encounter on the map. It's not actually a location. Here at Highcliff proper, well, there's no one around, and, well, not no one. Just most of the townspeople are gone. And they say to talk to the Elder first. There's a lizardman hostage on the ground over there. Anyway, they recognize us as the ones who saved the day earlier, so I guess we're going to demand that we do it again. And you can tell him that you'll fight the whole lot of them if necessary, and that gives you a little bit of influence with Kelgar. You can also interrogate this lizard man here, but there's not a whole lot to it. If you have Eleni in your party, you can lose influence with her for being abusive to this guy, and you can get influence with some of your other companions. Maybe I should do that, but I don't have Eleni here, so I don't have the option. Anyway, he claims that the leader of the tribe is some sort of shaman or seer, and we can try and intimidate him and fail, and Kelgar will back us up, and even though Kelgar has a pathetic intimidation skill, apparently he automatically succeeds, and you get your 50 XP for intimidating him anyways. You get some XP for attempting to interrogate the guy, but nothing much. And I suppose I should buff up before we deal with the lizardmen. I'll be right back. There are also some treasures at the bottom of the cliff here. You see this little cliff barricade and down by the docks. None of them are particularly interesting. I'll grab them off screen before I go. Not going to worry about them right now. And these guys are telling us that they knew that the chieftain knew that we were coming. And he's got visions, and we know those visions are actually from the King of Shadows, not from his ancestors, but, well. And, talk. But, he challenges you to a fight, and, well, we'll give it to him. I'm gonna, just for fun, cast Incendiary Cloud. This is another spell that, well, in the grand scheme of things, I would never use. I'm actually cast it on a group which is not actually hostile yet. But once you partially defeat Botha, as in you kill his first form, he changes into a big earth elemental, and then you can fight him again. And I guess he's actually doing some damage to me. And Grobnar's dying again. Now, it's kind of embarrassing that Grobnar's dying, because he has a 43 AC. I don't know exactly why he's quite so fragile, but he is. Probably he's getting hit by friendly fire. Because, our companions probably aren't being very careful about hitting Grobnar, because he's Grobnar, Yeah, I am wearing 4 different items that give regeneration, so if you look at the chat log down at the bottom of the screen, you'll notice I'm getting back 10 hit points around. A little bit much. And, we can talk to him, and we can intimidate him into joining our allegiance, and he also gives you a spear, and it says armor. It's actually a robe. The spear is just a phase spear plus 3, which is, it's not an awful weapon, but it's not a good weapon. The armor, on the other hand, is this gray robe with the Archmagi, which is great armor for either Quara or Sand. So I'll make sure to hand that off to whichever one of them is in the party at the time. Quara is currently getting plus 5 AC from her monk robes, but those monk robes don't work out necessarily all that well because they unequip, because she's not supposed to be able to equip them, and she's using magic device. But anyway, I'll meet you back at Crossroad Keep. Just switched out my party for this conversation because it gets funnier if you have the right people.
Some way I can help?
So, our last remaining alliance is the Wendersnaven. We have some information, we have a lead on where to go, but let's talk to Grobnar about them.
The Wendersnaven? What about them? Ah, yes. Well, it is impossible to truly know the Wendersnaven, since by nature they are unknowable. You see, they see everything, know everything, and exist everywhere and nowhere at once. It's truly quite amazing. Their size is also a great source of speculation, whether they are mighty giants hundreds of Kelgars high.
What did I tell you about using me as a unit of measurement?
Ahem. Several Nishkas high, stretching up to the clouds.
Hey, that's actually kind of a nice image. Thanks, Grobnar.
Or whether they are so small they cannot even be seen with the naked eye. Well, not really. You see, even if they left their home of Wenderitham, that means it would be impossible to spot them. Wenderitham is up in the clouds. There's many gateways to reach it, scattered throughout the realms, but they are hidden from mortal eyes. Well, yes, but you see, there's so many other fantastical things in the realms. Does it really seem like it's that improbable after all? Well, take yourself, for example. You are a living jigsaw puzzle of shattered silver shards that, when united, will become an artifact that cut an entire race in two. And this enemy we fight, it's not a shadowy being. It is the dark essence of magic itself, with the ability to embed itself within the very land and ground it walks upon. And to think this Emperor of Shadow,
King of Shadows.
well, it was once a simple person just like you, that wanted to protect its people from destruction. Isn't that amazing? I almost sense an irony coming, but I think that might be too much to speculate on.
Alright, now, I suppose if you were rather religious, you might find this conversation somewhat insulting, frankly, so I'm going to keep a couple Kelgars away from you if you are. But you can concede that he has a point for some cheap influence.
Really? I do? I can't believe I may have successfully argued a point. Now, if that isn't proof the Wendersnaven exist, I don't know what is.
Let's go deal with the Wendersnaven. We're here at this strange clearing. I've cast a couple buffs ahead of time, and I'm also just going to cast Stone to Flesh just to say that I've cast it. There's absolutely no reason to actually use it in the game, so I'm just casting it for the sake of casting it.
I can't quite put my finger on it, But there's something strange about this place.
This is a useless journey. If there is nothing here, then I suggest we move on to more tangible allies if we can.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Anyway, in addition to being the target for the Wendersnaven, this is also a location of another bit of ore, so we'll tag that. Now, to avoid, for the know-it-all challenge, just using spells for the sake of using them, I'm going to cast a couple of the level 9s from scrolls so that I can cast them on valid targets. The endgame enemies are immune to a lot of certain types of spells, so if I try to cast them, it's just going to be wasting time.
I've heard of the poet this journal belongs to. He was relentless. The relentless poet, in fact. He disappeared many, many years ago. It seems the orcs stripped the body. There doesn't seem to be anything left. Ow, 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 ow! I stubbed my toe on something. Ow! Think so. I mean, nothing broken, but, you know, I don't see anything on the ground I could have stepped on. Unless, well, just as I suspected. I couldn't see it because it's invisible. Here, look at this. See? It appears to be an invisible instrument of some sort. Just lying around where anyone could have stepped on it and damaged it. Shameful. I wonder if it still works. Well, only one way to find out.
Okay.
Did you hear those lingering tones? The way the notes seem to float in the air. This instrument is able to take even the simplest breaths and turn them into beautiful music. Why? The invisibility. The music. Why didn't I think of it before? This must be a Wendersnaven instrument. No, you're right. They certainly don't. Or at least they're not here now. Perhaps the rumors of their shy nature are not an exaggeration. I am somewhat sorry for leading you on this rabbit chase, but, well, perhaps this amazing find is actually a gift. The Wendersnaven's way of helping us. And you know, I think that's enough. As long as we both believe, knowledge of their legendary existence will never die. Well, goodbye, Wendersnaven, wherever you are. And thank you so much for the gift.
And, you know, we get attacked by orcs just to make this area a little less boring. And I'm going to have a little fun with those orcs by casting Weird. Weird is essentially attempts to insta-kill a group of enemies. And, well, I don't know how well it worked there. Wail of the Banshee, similar sort of spell. Weird allows 2 saving throws. Wail of the Banshee only 1. But neither one is what I would call great. Wail of the Banshee can be quite useful against sort of weak enemies, just for clearing spam. But I also have Power Word Kill. Unfortunately, I'm a little concerned about power words in general. I'll try it just for the sake of trying it, but I don't think it's going to work. No, it actually worked. And they're throwing Dispel at me, so I'm going to have to actually fight back, I guess. Not that casting a couple level 9 insta-kill spells is not fighting back.
Attack!
But of all those spells, the reality is that unless you're fighting like thief-type enemies that have high reflex saves, you're better off using Sunburst because, well, most things will have lower reflex saves, and blinding them is just as good as killing them. That's all the time we have for this episode, and I think we're running out of allies to request, so we're going to have to make some progress on our other plot stuff. See you next time!